Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah Quadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is Thamayim in Atlanta, and I have an article for you from the Daily Mail, and it reads, Justin Trudeau and his family flee the Canadian capital for a secret location amid security concerns as 50,000 anti-pestilence, anti-jab mandate Freedom Convoy truckers march days after being dismissed as a small fringe minority. And so there's a group of truckers that convoyed from the west coast of Canada all the way to the east coast to Ottawa, which is the capital, to protest all the mandates that are coming down. There's one where you have to be jabbed up to cross the border into Canada, and this is all gonna cause supply shortages and different delays, and these shortages are going to be food, fuel, and building materials, and these mandates are just going to multiply all the shortages that already exist. But these truckers are they're not about it. They're protesting, and it looks like a lot of people are standing with them to protest, because this their convoy was actually 45 miles long, and during the way there were people standing on the side of the roads to support them the whole time. So I'm not really gonna read too deep into this article. It's pretty long, but 1 second, a little loud, but you could see we're gonna go through the pictures and look at all of the pandemonium that's being caused in Canada over these mandates. So it says Justin Trudeau and his family have left their Ottawa home amid security concerns as demonstrators marched up and down the streets in front of the Prime Minister's office to rally against the pestilence mandate, the jab mandate. Protesters could be seen carrying copies of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, while others carried signs reading, "God keep our land glorious and free," in quotations, "Make Canada great again," and "We are here for our freedom." And if you have to make a place great again, that means that it is no longer great, and it won't be again. It says this convoy set out from British Columbia on Sunday and was cheered by hundreds of Canadians as it made its more than 2,000-mile journey to protest jab mandates. Since mid-January, Canada and the United States have imposed a jab mandate for foreign truck drivers crossing the border between the two countries. Canadian drivers are unable to enter the U.S. unless they are jabbed. U.S. drivers are unable to enter Canada. Furthermore, unjabbed Canadian drivers returning home must get tested and locked away. Unjabbed American truckers are not forced to test and lock themselves away when returning to the U.S. But if you go through these pictures that are here, hoping they come up. But you see, that's a lot of people. A lot of people are unhappy. And that's a lot of truckers, 50,000 trucks for a 45-mile long convoy. And this is in front of the Prime Minister's home. More pictures. banging pots and pans to protest. And they're not even saying, let's go Brandon. They're just straight up saying, F Trudeau. And there's a Edomite in his skimpies in the snow, in the cold. Yeah, these people are not happy. They're mourning. They want things to go back to how it was in 2019. But we're just going to move forward. And this is going to get worse and worse, and there's going to be more and more uproars and protest. And his sign, this guy's sign says, we don't need no we don't need no jab. We don't need no QR code. And that's going into the pestilence passport that they have, that they're actually, in Canada, they're making people use to get into the big box stores and the different grocery stores. And if you don't have that, you can't shop. And that QR code is going to turn into the MOTB, where it's put inside of you. It's said in Revelation 13. But yeah, these people are not happy. And these protests are gonna, this one was actually non-violent, but these things are gonna turn violent. And they're gonna spread around the world. Many places are already protesting, but it hasn't quite gotten here to Babylon yet. But Canada is right beside Babylon, so Lord willing, these protests get here to Babylon very soon. Slovakia. For some reason, there's a Confederate flag there, and they keep calling these groups fringe groups, which make it a borderline group or a smaller group. But this looks like a lot of people. And here's a picture with a QR code on Trudeau's forehead, which is definitely referencing Revelation 13, where he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. And these people can see where this is headed and see that their so-called freedoms are being taken away, and that they're losing their country. They think protesting will help, but as we know, this is all just going to pick up, and there's going to be more and more protest and more violence, more supply shortages, and eventually there's going to be the MOTB. And then World War III will get started. And then Babylon will be destroyed, and Yahushua will return. So this is good news. And there's a route from the west coast of Canada all the way to the east coast to Ottawa. It's a lot of truckers. A lot of people standing and watching and cheering them on from the west coast to the east coast. Trudeau must go. And that's the Prime Minister right there, looking confounded, troubled. They actually had to leave their home because they were afraid that this would turn violent. And usually, at least in history, when you look at different revolutions, they do turn violent, and the first people that have to be, taken care of are usually the heads of state, and that's what Trudeau was afraid of. But this is just prophecy playing out. And Lord willing, this all picks up a little more steam. Turn up. So getting into the scriptures, let's start out at Proverbs 29 and 2. It reads, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn." And would you say the people are rejoicing or mourning within that last article, within Canada? I would say they're mourning. And so that would mean that the wicked are ruling or bearing rule currently, as they are. It says in Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And that's who's ruling right now until Yahushua returns to take them out of power. Lord willing, it's soon, very soon. We can see things are being turned up. That's why it's called the year of the turn up. This is 2 Esdras 9 and 1. He answered me then and said, "Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is this very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world," and that was a depiction of an uproar, a protest people. And we've been getting more and more earthquakes recently. The biggest one that comes to mind is the one that happened in Tonga just this past week. And they're still getting aftershocks from that. Verse 4, "Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest." So we see these different things happening, these earthquakes, these uproars of the people. And that allows us to know that the end is nigh. The end is very soon. It's manifest. And we should be very happy about this. We're seeing prophecy every single day coming to pass. With all these articles, with all these earthquakes, it's all happening. It's all turning up. This is 2 Esdras 15 and 14. The point's down in 16. And it reads, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." So these uproars are going to eventually turn violent, and they're going to have the modern day sword, which is the gun, in their hands. And it says, verse 16, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes." And Justin Trudeau would be considered he's the prime minister, so he'd be considered a king in that area in Canada. And I believe his father was involved in politics too, so at one point he was considered a prince. And they are, with those signs there, like F. Trudeau and all the other stuff they're saying, they're not regarding their kings or princes. And it reads, "And the course of their actions shall stand in their power." And so all these things are just going to get turned up more and more. These protests, which are nonviolent at this point in time, they're going to become more and more violent as these people get more and more agitated with the supply shortages and food shortages and everything that's happening, and then the eventual pushing of the MOTB. These things are going to get it's going to get very violent eventually. As it said, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So, with that, we need to repent and be the best servants we can to Yahweh Yahweh Shai, so that we are chosen or a part of the elect that can be saved from all this destruction that's coming. So repent, because Yahweh Shai is coming back soon. And with that, I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.